You brought us incredible laughs, joy, confusion to the airsoft community. You were always there for me when can't do it. When I wanted to troll my friends. You were one of my favorite hashtags, and now, it's with great sadness, I must put you to rest. Goodbye, my friend. Oh, we had a good run. We had a really good run. But you know what, guys? Gotta move forward, right? So, it's a happy time. Slap your rubber chicken and put on your party hats. We got ourselves some airsoft Glocks. Well, licensed one at least. GLOCKS! This is the big one, guys and girls. It's airsoft Glocks. I get to talk about airsoft Glocks on RWTV. And it's not only one, but we have three. The three that we have here are fully licensed airsoft Glocks by Umarex. Just let that sink in for a little while. We've been deprived of this pistol for so long. And let that sink in. I'm gonna say it one more time. Licensed airsoft Glock. Man, it sounds like the voice of God in the desert. With us here today are three different Glocks. Two Glock 17s and a Glock 19. Represented as a Gen 4 Glock 17, a Gen 3 Glock 17, and a Gen 3 Glock 19. We're going to get into a little bit more about the differences between these three pistols, but right now, let's look at the externals. Externally, because these are licensed products, you're going to see really nice Glock trades and logos everywhere, even on the base of the magazine. And this corresponds with all three pistols, albeit some of the Glock logos are placed in a slightly different place. Now let's dive into these airsoft Glocks, starting with the Glock 17. Based on looks alone, both the Glock 17 Gen 4 and the Glock 17 Gen 3 look very, very similar. Well, they're actually quintessentially the same gun, with a few little differences here and there, and let's talk about those differences first. First, let's start with the markings. On the Gen 4, you're going to see it says 17 Gen 4 right here, and it doesn't say it over there. Everything else on this side of the slide is exactly the same. However, if you rotate the gun this way, you'll see on the Gen 4 it has those extra Glock markings right here on the top side of this outer barrel in the chamber area. Whereas on the Gen 3, it has those markings on this right-hand side. Everything else on this right-hand side of the gun are exactly the same in terms of officially licensed product Glock and the look itself, with the exception of this little marking here, and it doesn't have that over there. Moving to the next difference, get a little closer because now it's time to talk about the frame. Looking at the frame, you're going to see that on the Gen 4 it has this grid style checkering right here, whereas on the Gen 3 it just has this rough texture that doesn't work as well as this, believe it or not. On the back strap it also carries through, whereas on the Gen 3 it has this also rough pattern on it. Controls wise, they are exactly the same, with exception to the fact that the Gen 4 has an enlarged magazine release and Gen 3 has this small, teeny tiny one. Now in comparison, it looks really small. Another difference that you're going to know between the Gen 3 and the Gen 4 is under the hood. Let me show you guys. While the rear portion of the slide internally looks very similar, it's the front that looks different between the Gen 3 and the Gen 4. On the Gen 3, it uses a plastic guide rod with a single spring and a small buffer up front to help with that recoil. On the Gen 4, again, airsoft, kind of unnecessary, but a really cool touch that they put in is it uses a dual spring guide right here. This is found on real firearms, and I think it's really interesting that they decided to put this in an airsoft gun. I feel like it's a really cool, realistic detail that they included with this Gen 4 Glock. Gen 3, Gen 4 compatibility wise, both of these magazines are interchangeable and they work with either gun. So you don't have to worry about that, at least. Now let's talk about the Glock 19. The Glock 19 is their compact gun, and it has the same exact features as what you see on the Glock 17 Gen 3 in, well, a slightly smaller package. To give you guys a rough idea, there are the differences. See, there's the general size differences between the both of them. However, you're still going to get the same type of grip texturing as you see on the grip here, the same size magazine release, slide release, this nice matte satin black slide, the front dot and the notch rear sight, and as an added bonus, 17 mags can also fit in your 19, giving you a couple more rounds worth of capacity. Pretty cool. Now it's time to play Find the Hop-Up. Good thing they all have the same mechanism. You can find it by removing the slide with the two tabs right here on your frame, right here, right here. You pull down, slide forward to access the hop-up wheel right there. Start things off, we got the Glock 19 Gen 3 running 0.2 gram BBs and green gas. Glock 17 Gen 3 0.2 gram BBs and green gas. Glock 17 Gen 4 0.2 gram BBs and green gas. Now it's time to shoot the old airsoft Glock. I'm going to start off with the Glock 19 Gen 3. Let's see how she feels as we lay a couple of rounds down on a Quake's poor face over there. Felt recoil is really nice. For a smaller, shorter slide like this, it's pretty snappy. The reset's also pretty crisp, and these sights line up fairly good. Next one is going to be the Glock 17 Gen 3. The slightly longer sight radius on the 17 really makes it much easier to point. And now let's try out that Gen 4. I'm really interested to see how that dual recoil spring is going to help out. Immediately, the grip feels much different on this one than the previous. I do feel a slight difference in the recoil, felt recoil at least. Out of all three guns, I feel like the Glock 17 Gen 4 somehow does feel like it performed a little bit better. I don't know if it's psychological because of the dual recoil spring, but it also seemed like it shot a little bit better as well. Slightly tighter group. They all shot pretty good, but my bet is on the Gen 4. I quite like it. Here's a part of the video where I recommend you guys to check out something else. You know what though? Really can't, because there really was no such thing as an airsoft Glock before these guys showed up. So, on with my thoughts. How'd the guns shoot? Well, they shot pretty good for pistols. How'd they feel? They felt pretty good for pistols. But that aside, you know what this means, right? I mean, you know what this represents, right? Not only does this represent the opportunity now for us to have a wider range of Glocks for the airsoft market, but this also opens up the door. Being licensed Glocks, it opens up the door for new and innovative licenses to be applied to these airsoft Glocks. Think about cool slides like, you know, our agencies, different mag wells and triggers and different accessories to really trick out these Glocks, just like how in the real steel world, how ubiquitous and how industry standard these particular pistols are. But let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. What should the next fully licensed Glock be? A 19X? Maybe their new model 45 that shoots 9mm, but that's neither here nor there. Or something with their MOS slide package, right? Told you. The door is wide open now. But you know, for these cool products and many more, check out our online store, www.redwolfairsoft.com. And I just want to say it one more time, kind of like the voice of God. Fully licensed airsoft Glocks. Ooh, kind of gave me chills. See you next time.